Look, I need to ask you something, and I want you to really sit with it before you answer. When was the last time you made a financial decision? Not a big one, not a dramatic move, just a real decision. Something you chose deliberately, with full awareness of what you were doing and why. Because here's the thing nobody talks about: not deciding is a decision. Staying exactly where you are, it is a choice. And that choice has a cost, a real one that shows up not in a single dramatic moment, but quietly, every single month, every single year, in the gap between where you are and where you could have been. Today, we are going to look at that gap honestly, not to make you feel bad, but to show you exactly what it costs and exactly what you can do about it. This is the bigger picture. Let me paint you a picture. Two people, same age, same income, same starting point. Person A looks at their financial situation, feels overwhelmed, and decides to deal with it later. Not today, maybe next month, maybe when things calm down a little, maybe when they have more information, more time, more confidence. Person B looks at the same situation, feels exactly the same overwhelm, and makes one small decision anyway. Not a perfect decision, not a complete plan, just one thing, one real step. Fast forward 10 years. Person A is still meaning to start, still waiting for the right moment, still carrying the quiet weight of a financial life that never quite got going. Person B built something. Not because they were smarter, not because they had better luck or a higher income or access to information that person A didn't have. Not because they understood something that most people learn too late. The cost of doing nothing is not zero. It never was. Let me give you a number that makes this concrete. A monthly investment of $400 started today at a historical average return of 7% annually, produces approximately $480,000 over 30 years. The same $400 per month started 5 years from now, produces approximately $320,000 over the same period. Same amount, same strategy, same market, a difference of $160,000 created entirely by 5 years of waiting for the right moment. That moment, by the way, never feels right from the inside. It always feels like there is something to sort out first, some obstacle to clear, some condition that needs to be met before the real work can begin. The mortgage needs to settle, the kids need to get through school, the job situation needs to stabilize, the market needs to calm down. There is always something. And while there is always something, the clock is always running. Now, here is what I want you to understand. This is not about blame. It is not about making you feel behind or irresponsible or like you missed something you should have caught earlier. Most people are not doing nothing because they are lazy. They are doing nothing because the financial world feels complicated, intimidating, and somehow designed for people who already know what they are doing. And that feeling, that sense of not quite knowing enough to start, is one of the most expensive feelings a person can carry because it keeps them exactly where they are. Comfortable enough to stay, uncomfortable enough to feel it, but not quite uncomfortable enough to move. That zone, right there, is where most financial lives quietly stay. Not in crisis, not in momentum, just still. And stillness, in a world where everything compounds, is not neutral, it is expensive. And in the next part of this conversation, we are going to talk about exactly why. So why does it happen? Why do smart, capable, genuinely motivated people end up staying still financially year after year, despite knowing better? Because knowing better is never enough on its own. And I think most people already understand this on some level. They have read the articles, watched the videos, heard the advice. They know they should be investing. They know the debt needs to go. They know the emergency fund matters. They know, and yet here they are. So let's talk about what is actually going on, because it is not laziness, and it is not stupidity, and it is not some character flaw that certain people have and others don't. It is something much more specific than that. It is the way the human brain responds to uncertainty. Here is how it works. When a decision feels uncertain, the brain does something very predictable. It looks for more information, more clarity, more certainty before committing. This is sensible in most situations. You wouldn't jump off a bridge without checking the water first. You wouldn't sign a contract without reading it. Caution, in the face of uncertainty, is usually wise. But financial decisions are different, because financial decisions are almost never certain. The market might go down, the investment might underperform, the plan might need to change, the timing might be off. There is always uncertainty, always, which means the brain, looking for certainty before acting, is looking for something that will never arrive. And while it waits, the clock runs. There is a term in psychology called analysis paralysis, the state of overthinking a decision to the point where no decision gets made at all. And it is remarkably common in financial life, because financial decisions involve numbers and projections and scenarios and variables. And the more you look, the more complex it becomes, and the more complex it becomes, the more it feels like you need to know more before you can act. It is a loop, a very expensive loop. And the way out of the loop is not more information. It is a different relationship with uncertainty. The people who build financial momentum are not the ones who found certainty. Nobody finds certainty. The market doesn't offer it. The economy doesn't offer it. Life doesn't offer it. The people who build momentum are the ones who learn to act in the presence of uncertainty rather than waiting for it to disappear. That shift from waiting for certainty to acting despite uncertainty is not a personality trait you either have or don't. It is a decision, a practiced one. And it starts with understanding something about how inaction actually works. Because inaction feels like a pause. It feels like you are standing still, waiting, while the world around you moves. But that is not what is actually happening. While you are standing still, inflation is moving. Compound interest is moving. The gap between where you are and where you want to be is moving. Everything is moving. You are not standing still in a static world. You are standing still in a moving one. And in a moving world, standing still means falling behind. Not dramatically, not all at once, but consistently, quietly, in the background of every month that passes without a decision. The cost accumulates. And the most important thing I can tell you about that cost is that it is not permanent, it is not too late. The gap exists, the clock has been running, some time has passed, but the best time to start is always now, not because now is perfect, because now is real, and real is the only thing that actually changes anything. In the next part of this conversation, we are going to talk about what that actually looks like, what moving in the presence of uncertainty actually requires, and why it is so much simpler than most people expect. Okay, so let's talk about what actually moving looks like, because I think there is a misconception here that is worth addressing directly. When most people think about taking financial action, they picture something big, a complete overhaul, a detailed plan with spreadsheets and projections and a clear path from here to some specific destination. The kind of thing that requires a Saturday afternoon and a lot of coffee and maybe a meeting with a professional. And because that feels like a lot, they put it off until they have the time, until they have the energy, until the conditions are right for that kind of effort. But here is what I have learned from watching how people actually build financial momentum. It almost never starts with the big move. It starts with one small, specific, real decision. Not the perfect decision, not the complete plan, just one thing. Let me give you some examples of what one thing actually looks like. Opening an investment account and setting up an automatic transfer of $50 per month before you have figured out exactly what you are going to invest in. Calling your bank and asking one question you have been meaning to ask for 2 years about the interest rate on your savings account. Writing down, for the first time, the actual number, the real number, what you earn, what you spend, what is left. Just seeing it clearly. Paying one extra payment on one debt, not because you have a complete payoff strategy, but because you decided to start somewhere. None of these are dramatic. None of them require a Saturday afternoon or a professional or a complete understanding of the financial system. They require only one thing: the decision to do one real thing today instead of waiting to do the perfect thing someday. And here is why that matters so much. Because momentum, financial momentum, does not start with a big move. It starts with a small move that gets completed. The brain experiences completion differently than planning. When you actually do something, finish something, even something small, it changes how the next decision feels. It becomes easier, more natural, less like an effort and more like a pattern. And patterns are what build financial lives. Not single dramatic decisions, not perfect plans executed flawlessly. Patterns, small decisions made consistently over time. The person who invests $50 every month for 30 years builds more wealth than the person who plans to invest $500 someday and never quite starts. Not because 50 is better than 500, because 50 actually happened, and happening is everything. Now I want to talk about something that gets in the way of happening, even after you have decided to move, because the decision to start is one thing, staying started is another, and the forces that pull people back towards stillness are real and specific and worth understanding. Because if you understand them, you can build a structure that makes staying started the path of least resistance, instead of the constant effort it feels like for most people. And that structure is exactly what we are going to talk about next. Let me tell you something that most people never stop to calculate. The cost of waiting is not just financial, it is emotional. There is a specific kind of weight that comes from knowing what you need to do and not doing it. It is not dramatic. It does not announce itself loudly. It shows up in small ways. In the slight discomfort you feel when someone mentions their investment account at dinner. In the way you change the subject when money comes up. In the quiet background hum of a financial situation that you know needs attention, but keeps getting postponed. That weight, carried long enough, becomes part of how you relate to money entirely. You stop looking at the numbers because looking feels bad. You stop making decisions because decisions feel overwhelming. You stay in the familiar discomfort of doing nothing because at least that discomfort is known. And the financial cost of that emotional pattern is enormous. Not because avoiding feels good, it doesn't, but because avoidance is self-reinforcing. The longer you avoid, the bigger the thing feels. The bigger it feels, the harder it is to start. The harder it is to start, the more likely you are to avoid. It is a loop, just like analysis paralysis, but driven by emotion rather than information, and the way out is exactly the same. Not more courage, not more motivation, not waiting until the weight lifts on its own. One small action that breaks the loop, not the complete solution, not the full plan, just one thing that moves you from avoiding to engaging, looking at the number, writing it down, opening the account, making the call. Something real, something finished, something that tells the brain, we are not avoiding anymore. That signal, small as it is, changes the emotional relationship with money, not overnight, not completely, but enough. Enough to make the next decision slightly easier, and the one after that easier still, until one day, without a single dramatic moment, the weight that you carried for so long is simply gone. Not because the financial situation is perfect, because you stopped avoiding it and engaging, even imperfectly, even slowly, is the only thing that ever makes it better. Let me be honest with you about something. Most financial content focuses on getting started. The first step, the first account, the first investment, the first move. And the first step matters. It really does. But the first step is not where most people lose the game. They lose it in what comes after. In the second month, when the excitement has faded and the result isn't visible yet, and the automatic transfer happens quietly in the background, and it all feels a little anticlimactic. In the sixth month, when the market drops and the balance is lower than when you started and everything you read online seems to be saying that something is very wrong. In the second year, when a friend mentions a strategy that sounds faster, easier, more interesting than the boring consistent thing you have been doing, and you wonder if maybe you are doing this wrong, that is where most people lose it. Not at the beginning, in the middle. And the middle, as we have talked about before, is where everything is actually built. So let's talk about the specific forces that pull people back towards stillness. The first one is visibility, financial progress. Real financial progress is almost entirely invisible in the short term. You cannot see compound interest working. You cannot feel your net worth growing. You cannot point to something and say, "There, that is what I built this month." It happens in the background, quietly, in numbers that change slowly enough that they feel like they are not changing at all. And the human brain, wired for immediate feedback, struggles with this. We are built to respond to things we can see, feel, point to. When the feedback is invisible, the motivation fades, and when the motivation fades, the behavior follows. This is why tracking matters so much. Not obsessively, not daily, but consistently. A simple number, written down once a month, that shows the direction of travel even when the destination still feels far. That visible record, however simple, gives the brain the feedback it needs to keep going. The second force is comparison, and in the age of social media, this one is more dangerous than ever. Everyone around you seems to be doing more, moving faster, building bigger. The person on the internet who paid off $200,000 in 18 months, the colleague who just bought an investment property, the friend who seems to be living a life that suggests their financial situation is completely sorted, and next to all of that, your $50 a month feels embarrassing, like it barely counts. Here is the truth about comparison. The people you are comparing yourself to are almost never starting from where you started. They are almost never dealing with what you are dealing with. And the version of their financial life that reaches you is the highlight. The edited version, the result without the process. You are comparing your process to someone else's highlight. That comparison is not useful, it is not accurate, and it is not free. It costs you the confidence to keep going with what is actually working. The third force is the feeling of being behind. This one is subtle, but it might be the most powerful of all. When you start something later than you think you should have, there is a quiet voice that says, "What is the point? The best years are gone. The compounding I missed cannot be recovered. I am playing catch-up and I will always be playing catch-up." That voice is not telling you the truth. Yes, time matters. Yes. Starting earlier is better than starting later, but starting now is always better than not starting. Always. The person who starts at 45 and builds consistently for 20 years builds something real, something that changes how their life feels, something that gives them options they would not otherwise have. Not as much as if they had started at 35, but infinitely more than if they had listened to the voice that said it was too late. That voice is the most expensive thing in your head, and learning to hear it, without obeying it, is one of the most powerful financial skills available. We are going to talk about exactly how to do that right after this. So how do you deal with that voice, the one that says it is too late, the one that says your amount is too small, the one that says everyone else is further ahead and you are just catching up to a game that has already been decided? I want to give you something practical here, not a mindset tip, not a motivational reframe, something structural, something that actually works in the real world. On the real Tuesday morning when the voice is loud and the motivation is low and the path of least resistance is to do nothing again, the answer is not to silence the voice. You cannot silence it. It is part of how the brain works. It will always be there, commenting, comparing, questioning, suggesting that maybe today is not the right day. The answer is to build a structure where the voice, even when it is loud, cannot actually change what happens. Let me explain what I mean. The most powerful financial tool available to anyone, at any income level, at any stage of life, is automation, not because it is complex, because it is the opposite of complex. When your investment contribution happens automatically on the first of the month, before the money appears in your checking account, the voice has nothing to work with. It cannot say, wait until next month. The transfer already happened. It cannot say the timing is wrong. The decision was made once, structurally, and removed from the daily negotiation entirely. It cannot say the amount is too small, the amount is moving, regardless. Automation does not require motivation. It does not require the right mood or the right market conditions or the right feeling about where things are headed. It requires one decision, made once, and then it just runs. This is not a new idea, but it is consistently underused. Because most people set up their finances reactively, they earn, they spend, they see what is left, and then they decide whether to save or invest, and by the time they get to the decision, the money is usually gone, or the moment is wrong, or the voice has already made its argument. Automation reverses the sequence. You decide first, the structure executes. The voice arrives too late. The second structural tool is simplicity. Most people overcomplicate their financial lives to the point where managing them feels like a part-time job. Multiple accounts, multiple platforms, multiple strategies running simultaneously, a level of complexity that requires constant attention and decision-making, and therefore creates constant opportunities for inaction. Simplicity removes those opportunities. One investment account, one automated contribution, one low-cost index fund. That is it. Not because complexity is always wrong, but because simplicity, executed consistently, outperforms complexity, executed inconsistently, every time. The third structural tool is a written commitment. Before the market drops, before the difficult month arrives, before the voice gets loud, write down what you are doing and why. Not a detailed financial plan, not a 30-page document, 3 sentences, what you are investing, why you chose it, what you will do when it feels wrong. That last one matters most because it will feel wrong. There will be a month, maybe several, where everything in you wants to stop or change or pivot to something that feels safer or faster or more certain. Having your own words, written when you are calm, telling you what to do when you are not, is worth more than any financial advisor you could hire because it is yours. It reflects your reasoning, your values, your actual financial life. And when the voice arrives, you already answered it before it had a chance to ask. That structure, automation, simplicity, written commitment is not complicated. It is not expensive. It does not require a Saturday afternoon or a professional or a complete understanding of the financial system. It requires only the decision to put it in place, and that decision is available to you right now. If you are still here, I want to stop for just a second, because I am aware that what we have been talking about today is not the kind of content that usually gets shared around. It is not a hot tip. It is not a list of the 5 best stocks to buy right now. It is not a shortcut or a hack or a secret that the wealthy use while everyone else sleeps. It is something harder than that, and more valuable. It is an honest look at the thing that costs most people more than any bad investment ever could. The quiet, accumulated, deeply personal cost of not moving, of waiting for the right moment that never quite arrives, of knowing what needs to happen and finding reasons, perfectly reasonable ones, to let it wait one more month. You stayed through that conversation, and that tells me something about you. You are not here for the shortcut. You are here for the real thing, and the real thing takes time to build, video by video, conversation by conversation, each one adding another layer of clarity, another piece of the picture, until one day the financial world that once felt confusing and overwhelming and somehow always working against you feels like something you actually understand, something you can navigate, something that is working for you instead of the other way around. That is what this channel is building toward. And if that is what you are looking for, subscribe, so the next conversation reaches you when it is ready. And share this with one person in your life who needs to hear it today. Not someday, today, someone who has been meaning to start for longer than feels comfortable to admit. Someone who knows what they need to do and keeps finding reasons to wait. This conversation might be exactly what shifts something for them. And now, let's finish what we started. Because we have covered a lot of ground today, the invisible cost that accumulates while you wait, the way the brain responds to uncertainty by looking for more certainty that never arrives, the small real decision that starts momentum where the perfect plan never could, the forces that pull people back towards stillness even after they have started, the structure that makes staying started the path of least resistance. But there is one more thing, the most important thing, the thing that sits underneath all of it and determines whether any of this actually sticks. Not the strategy, not the automation, not the written commitment. Something more personal than any of those. The reason, your specific, honest, deeply personal reason for wanting something different. Not the surface reason, not financial freedom or passive income or retirement or security. The real reason, the one that lives in the quiet part of you that already knows what this is actually about. What kind of mornings you want to have, what you want to be able to say yes to, what you want to stop carrying. That reason is the thing that makes the structure sustainable, the thing that makes the voice manageable, the thing that makes the boring, consistent work worth doing. And finding it is exactly where we are going next. I want to end with something simple, not a summary, not a list of action steps, not the kind of conclusion that wraps everything neatly and sends you back into the world feeling informed but unchanged. Something simple and true. You already know what you need to do. I am not saying that to be dismissive. I am saying it because it is almost always true and almost never acknowledged. Most people who watch content like this, read books like this, have conversations like this, already know. They know they need to start investing. They know the debt needs attention. They know the emergency fund matters. They know the automatic transfer would change things. They know the written plan would help. They know. And the gap between knowing and doing is not an information gap. It is a decision gap. A small, specific, deeply personal decision. And that has been waiting for the right moment for longer than feels comfortable to admit. Here is what I want to say about that moment. It is not coming from the outside. It is not going to arrive with better market conditions or a cleaner calendar or a financial situation that finally feels sorted enough to work with. It comes from the inside, from the moment you decide, quietly, without announcement, that the cost of waiting is higher than the cost of starting imperfectly. That moment is available right now. Not because the conditions are right, they are probably not. Not because you have everything figured out, you don't. Nobody does. But because you are here, listening to this, thinking about this. Which means some part of you already knows that something needs to move. Listen to that part. Not the voice that says wait, not the voice that says more information first, not the voice that says everyone else is further ahead, so what is the point? The quieter voice, the one underneath, the one that knows exactly what kind of life you are trying to build and exactly how much longer you want to wait before you start building it. That voice is the most important financial advisor you will ever have, and it has been trying to get your attention for a while now. This is the moment you give it your full attention, not tomorrow, not next month, not when things calm down. Now, one decision, real and specific, small enough to do today. That is all it takes to change the direction, not the destination, not overnight, the direction. And direction, held consistently over time, becomes everything. If this conversation has been worth your time, share it with 5 people who are waiting for the right moment, who deserve to hear that the moment is now, who have been carrying the quiet cost of doing nothing for long enough. Leave a comment below. Tell me what you want to understand next. What part of your financial life still feels like a locked room? What question you have been carrying without knowing where to take it? Ask it here, because the next conversation starts with what you need most. This is the bigger picture: money, wealth, and the life you're building. We'll see you in the next one.